Okay, so 2.4, day 2, we're going to be working with conjugates. Yesterday we saw we had like x minus I and x plus I. I said those were complex conjugates because when I multiply it out, I would get x squared minus xi plus xi minus I squared. Well, the plus and minus xi would zero out, correct? And this would be x squared minus, and what is I squared? -1. So then a negative and a negative is a positive, so I would get x squared plus 1. Yes? Okay. So in the past, we've done problems, and I've told you you can't leave square roots in denominators. Guess what you also can't leave in denominators? Imaginary numbers. So we will be multiplying by conjugates. So we have -6 minus 7i over 2i. Got it written down?
Yep.
So my problem with this is I can't have the I in the denominator, can I? So I need to make it I squared. So in order to make it I squared, I just multiply by what? I. And whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do to the what? Numerator. But this whole quantity up here better be put in parentheses, because what am I going to have to do with the I? I'm going to have to distribute it, aren't I? So I'm going to get -6i minus 7i squared over 2i squared. So this I squared up here is -1. This I squared down here is what? -1. So I have a -7 times a -1 is a, and it needs to go in the front, correct? Because whole numbers go in the front, like real numbers go in the front, yes? And -1 times 2 is what? -2. Now, we are not quite done, because remember I told you it was a plus bi. We need the real part and the imaginary part. Do I have that here? Do I have a real part? No, I do not. I have one thing, don't I? Do I not have one fraction? I have one fraction. I do not have a real part and an imaginary part. I have a complex, like all mushed up. So what you do is you divide both terms, the 7 and the -6i, by what? -2. So that gives me -7/2, doesn't it? Okay. And a negative and a negative is a positive. So plus 6 over 2i. Yes, it is going to be 3. But you see where I put my I? Okay. And 6 over 2 does reduce to what? 3. So I get 7/2 plus 3i. That I cannot be, if for some reason up here this didn't reduce, that I cannot be in the fraction. You understand me? It has to be off to the side. Your I needs to be completely by itself. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I have, oh, I don't like that one. Let's get a different one. Yeah.
No. Mrs. Smith, we could do that by ourselves.
Okay, yeah, do it by yourself.
Kyson can do it.
Okay, I'm going to have to get rid of my writing, but you should all have that on your, because I have to do something.
Do you always multiply by the I or whatever?
You always have to get rid of the I in the denominator, yes. We'll be doing it a little bit differently. Why is it not? There we go. I needed my... Did it change the numbers? It did, didn't it?
0 over -2?
You guys are going to have to tell me what it was because it changed the numbers again.
It was -8 plus
Bad.
8i over 8i. Oh no, I did that.
Okay, it was -8.
Plus 8i over 8i equals it.
Okay, you guys got done? Okay, who wants to help me out? Kyson? What do you have to multiply? What do I have to multiply?
No.
I'll do it because I think I did it.
Okay, what do you have to multiply?
I.
I. Okay. So what's your numerator become?
Is that the top or bottom?
Yes, that's the top.
-8 plus 8. 1.
You have to distribute the I. So it would be -8i plus 8i
Squared.
squared.
That's what I had.
Oh, well, that's not what you were saying.
I was getting there.
Over what?
2i squared.
8i squared?
How do you get 8i squared?
Well, because it's
Oh,
8.
that's where I messed up because I had an 8 right at the top, but then I went to a 2i.
Oh, okay. So what does this I squared do to this 8? Make it negative, right? What's this I squared do to it? Make it negative. So I have to bring -8 minus 8i over what? -8. And then I have to separate it, correct? So -8 divided by -8 is what? 1. And negative and a negative is a positive. Or just, can I just put I? Yep.
Here's the,
Yes.
why can't you take 8i and then the denominator 8i, make that 1? And then
Oh, back here,
8?
back at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because if you did it, like here we divided this and this by -8. So I would have had to do that over here too. So it would have been -8 over 8i plus 8i over 8i, which would be 1. You're correct. But then I still would have to do everything with what?
8i.
With that. Okay? So you still would have had your 1, but you would have had to do everything with this.
Okay.
Okay? And it's just much easier to pull it apart at the end. Okay, so that's fine, but then what happens if it does that? Actually, I'm going to do that.
I don't know.
Okay,
Same thing, probably.
so I can't have that I in the denominator, can I?
No.
But the difference between this is it's not multiplication anymore, it's addition or subtraction. So I have to put parentheses around that bottom. And I have to multiply by its conjugate. And I have, whatever I do on the bottom, I have to do on the top. So it's going to be 4 and I, but this one's positive, so this one is going to be what? Negative. The sign only changes in the middle. It gives me those difference of squares, that complex conjugate. So then I have to do 4 minus I in the numerator, correct? Okay, so I'm going to distribute the 2I in, and I get 8I minus 2I squared, correct? And in the denominator, I'm going to FOIL it. Why do you think I made you work on foiling yesterday? Because guess what you have to do today?
Not foil.
So I get, if I do it right, I get 16, right?
Yeah.
Minus 4I plus 4I minus I squared.
Yes.
So the minus 4I plus 4I, that's 0, isn't it? Yep. Okay, well this this I squared in the numerator makes the 2 what?
-1.
Well, it makes it -1, so it makes the 2,
2.
2. And I need, well, I'll just one step at a time, I guess. 8I plus 2. Now my denominator, I have -I squared, so that's negative times -1, yes? Which is what? Which is plus 1. So 16 plus 1 is what? 17. So first of all, it's not A plus BI, right? We got to have the real number first, and we have to tear it apart.
Get 17.
So 2 divided by 17 is what?
2 17.
2/17 plus 8/17 what?
Hi.
I. Not bad, is it?
How did you get 17?
16 plus 1?
When are we taking a test?
Next Tuesday.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't think we are.
Mrs. Nick, that gives you all considering to grade them.
Yeah, it won't take me. They will all be graded by probably Wednesday.
Wait, one semester.
But I won't guarantee that because every class has, yeah.
You're not gonna have it done.
Well, my hope is since everybody should be turning in I could be grading first period during second period. That's my hope. I want to break. I'm giving you guys a Thanksgiving break.
You don't have a class first period.
Well, you know what I mean. You guys don't have homework over Thanksgiving break. My hope is I don't. So, okay. So the next one, I got to get rid of this, right? So what do I need to multiply by?
-6 plus I.
-6. Not plus I.
Minus I.
Minus I.
So you keep the negatives.
Yes, you keep the -6.
All you change is the I.
All you change is the sign in the middle. Because what if the I was first? Does that make sense?
Okay.
So you only change the sign in the middle. And so don't forget parentheses around the numerator, right? Because do I have to FOIL twice?
Yeah.
Yep. So you do it and I'll do it and we better get the same thing, right? Hopefully.
So like when you rewrite it, is like -6 minus I on the bottom and the top.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you do, whenever I multiply the bottom by something, I have to multiply the same on the top. Because if I don't, I'm changing the problem. Connor, are you doing these with me?
Yeah,
No, you're not.
yes I am.
What are you doing on your phone?
Not on my phone.
What's in front of you that you're messing with?
My phone, but I'm not on it.
Well, you're messing with it. Well, you're messing with it.
Okay, that doesn't mean I'm on it.
Well, but you're not doing this with us.
Okay, I haven't been doing it the past 3 days.
And every time I tell you to do what? I keep trying. Not gonna quit trying.
Take his phone.
Okay, take it. Talking about me.
If he's not on it, he's not on it. I just want him to do it with us.
How do you do it so fast?
Well, do it on your own paper. Don't copy mine. You're supposed to be doing. I'm not doing it slow so you can copy. I'm just doing the problem while you guys are doing it, so you can check.
I don't know how to do it. So I just copy.
Okay, Kyson, you know how to FOIL. That's all I did.
You like that? You do?
How'd you get 35?
Because I have -36 plus 1.
Oh, okay.
Cadence, how'd you do?
Not very good.
Okay. Did
I
you?
got that first answer right there, but I don't. That's all I got.
Okay. So, what does I squared equal?
Negative I squared equals 1.
Okay, so I have plus 1 and minus 36, which would give me
Negative 30.
negative 35. And I have -6, and -6 would give me negative.
I got -6 plus 6i.
On the numerator?
On both, yeah.
Okay, so when I FOIL that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. Do you see why?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, how'd it work for you?
Fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Bladen,
Yeah.
How was copying the answer?
how did it work for you?
Good.
Okay. Savannah?
My guess is good, other than I thought my
Yeah.
eye was a 2.
Well,
So I had 36 plus 2 on the bottom. That's
Mhm.
what threw me up. I was looking at yours, I was like, how'd you get 37? And then I saw that I was
Okay.
wrong.
Carly, did I get all your answers? Your
Yes.
questions answered? Okay, let's do another one.
Carly, Matt has to ask you something.
No, come on, stop.
She's videoing.
Why do those things keep going away?
The fangs.
The arrows to.
Don't let them go away.
Just get good.
Because you're pressing that button, then it makes it go away. And just make, which one are we doing?
Well, I'm trying to get one that's going to be like.
Wait, go back one, go back one. What? No.
Ooh, we're going to do this one.
What are you doing?
Oh, we can. Either one. Which one do you want to do?
No, go. One on the right. One on the
Right? Okay, so we're going to do this one.
Left.
Okay, so what's my conjugate going to be? First, I'm putting parentheses around the numerator and denominator. And I only care about the denominator, not the numerator.
-6 minus 2i.
Yes, -6 minus 2i. And I'll give you guys a head start.
I'll wait until you start.
Tyson's usually that fast.
I don't want to finish at the same time as you. That's not an answer.
Nat, did you get the same thing I did?
Yes. I think you're wrong and I got it right.
Tyson, what's your answer?
Not sharing, because
Carly, did you get the same thing I did?
Yeah, I just messed up
You
with
don't
some
want to copy
parts.
Tyson.
Which part?
I got it
Like
wrong.
this string.
Okay, so we got to be careful that we're doing our negatives times negatives and getting positives and things like that, yes? Questions, guys? Okay, let's do one more.
It's a question.
2 minus I over negative 6i. So we're going to put parentheses around our numerator, right? So we don't forget.
Okay, so then how do we multiply it if there's not a thing on the bottom?
Well, we just need to multiply by what?
6i.
I. Now, we could do 6i, couldn't we, if we wanted to?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we just end up having to reduce it out, wouldn't we? So on the numerator, don't forget to distribute.
So that'd be 2i.
So it'd be 2i minus
I squared.
I squared
Yeah.
over negative 6 times I squared. Yes? I times I is I squared.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this negative I squared becomes a positive 1.
Yeah, and then the.
So it's 1 plus 2i. And your denominator, this I squared is a negative 1. And negative 1 times negative 6 is 6. So I get 1/6
Minus.
plus. Where'd you get a minus?
So it's half.
1/3. Third. 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 So some of them, your denominators, you're going to have to do the whole complex conjugate like this. And some of them, you're just going to have to multiply by I. And your last 6 are factoring.
Yay.
Your first 4 are remnants of yesterday's. Okay?
Yes.
And then so 37 through 54 is this stuff.
Yes.
I'll listen to music.
Yes, you may.